can you give us a brief overview of your career in sports marketing and how it led you to becoming involved with esports?
My career started, ironically, at University of Nebraska over 25 years ago. I had an opportunity when I was in undergraduate school to do research on any topic of my choice. I was selected one of 9 students around the country to get a grant, the National Science Foundation. And most of my classmates, my peers, they decided to do it on education or discrimination. I wanted to do it on sports. And so at the time, the football team had just won their national title, and Tom Osborne was the head coach, and he allowed me to do research on the football team, and they just happened to win another national championship when I was there. So they went back to back, and my research was about Black and white athletes and how they looked at their career paths. So I didn't realize it was going to prepare me for what I'm going to be doing in 2020. I kept that with me all this time, the research component of it. So when it was time for me to go to graduate school, I was going to do my PhD in sociology of sport at Harvard University.
Yep.
And then I was at a conference, and one of the professors from the University of Massachusetts said, would you rather do your PhD in sociology in 6, 7 years, or would you like to get a master's in sport management, which you get it in a year or 2? And I'm thinking, oh, 1 year versus 7 years? I think I'll go with the 1 year, please. Okay. And I decided to go to the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. And then that's when I realized my love for the video game industry, but really my love for the shoe industry. So I thought I was going to go in there working with college athletics and maybe pro athletes and working on their career paths. And I wound up getting a career in the shoe industry. I worked for Reebok, my first job out of graduate school, and I had a wonderful career there. It was only lasted 6 months. I got a chance to work with every division. And while I was there, I kept thinking about the research. I kept thinking about career paths. And I was looking around, and I didn't really see anyone that looked like me that worked in Reebok. And I was confused. I was like, what kind of careers are Black people having in this space when we consume the most sneakers on the planet? Why are we not represented here? The vice president of marketing, Sean Neville, he went to Foot Action retailer, and he brought me with him and made me his national director of marketing. I got a chance to partner with different entities, and that's where the video game industry came into place. And in 1999, Reebok worked with EA Sports and Madden on their first Madden tour. So I kept thinking about what do we need to partner with these video game companies? How do we do that? Our core consumer was 12 to 24-year-old urban males. And so we had to look at what do 12 to 24-year-old young people do for fun? They play video games, they listen to music, they watch sports. So how do we create a relationship? We had a partnership with one of our shoe companies called And1. They make basketball sneakers. And they had a video game that they were going to be in called Street Hoops, 2003 basketball game. So we were able to put our Foot Action store in the video game. And so when you're playing the game and you win an rewards, one of your rewards is to go into a Foot Action store and go get your favorite outfits from And1, Nike, Adidas, Reebok. And that was the first time I ever did product placement in a video game. And it was so successful. It was the #1 basketball video game in the country that year. And then I began getting calls from all sorts of brands in the video game industry. We worked with Tony Hawk. We worked with Madden. And we wound up doing product placement in close to 50 video games in my career. 2011, I decided to go back and get a PhD in education and leadership. And so when I was in school, I didn't know that I was going to do anything around the video game industry. I wasn't even thinking about it until 2013. Konami contacted me and they said, can you help us with this new apparatus from our Dance Dance Revolution game? And I say, sure. And they were trying to get young people to lose weight. So they used this video game, Dance Dance Revolution, as a way to help them lose weight, but they created an apparatus for them to do it, but it cost like $15,000 and a lot of schools cannot afford that. So we went to Congress and Congress appropriated the money for it. When I graduated and finished in 2015, I began getting phone calls from different video game companies and publishers and saying, hey, you do curriculum now. There's a number of schools that are getting ready to do eSport curriculum. I didn't know what the heck they were talking about. I said, how is that possible? They're going to teach video games in schools? And then I said, okay. And I began realizing that the relationships that I had in the past in the video games industry was still there. And so that's how I arrived in this space here at Florida Memorial University over the last 3 years. My life has been dedicated to helping universities really come to grips and understand what the video game industry is and how we can create programs that can empower and impact the students and create pathways for them to get jobs in these industries.
Sure. And why did you end up particularly at Florida Memorial University? What took you there?
Oh man, many things. I think the pandemic, unfortunately and fortunately, created that. I went to Office Depot and I bought me the biggest desk I can find. And they built it for me from ground up. LinkedIn asked me to be part of that beta test to have my own show on LinkedIn. I went out and did that, got the lighting, and I created my own show. And on my show for 3 months straight, I interviewed all sorts of people. I interviewed over 30 college presidents. And during that time, 9 of them asked me to come to the universities to create esports at their school. And Florida Memorial's president, Dr. Hardrick, he was at Florida International up until 2019. He brought me into the university, introduced me to the provost and to the athletic director and his team and said, we'd like to do something with esports, but we're not sure how we want to do it, but tell us more about it. And when I left the campus, first time ever being there, fell in love with it. And around April, May, he said, I think we're ready. And I'm thinking, you're really ready for me in the middle of a pandemic? You want me to come in August? He invited me down. I got to campus and everyone had to wear a mask when you walked on campus. They took your temperature. Every building had it. And no other colleges was doing that yet. And I was thinking, these people are very serious about this. And then when the death of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor happened, it made me say, you know what? I need to be at a historically Black college because now young Black men and women need me. They need someone like me at this school to empower and inspire them. So Dr. Hardrick and Provost Cooper, Dr. Adrian Cooper, they invested in me and said, we want you here. There's opportunity for you here. And we want you to create something powerful, but not just an esports program, but something around STEM. When they told me to focus on STEM and a STEM focus, that's when my wheels started turning.
Could you give us an overview of the innovative STEM and esports program that you've developed? And what does it aim to provide to students?
We focus so much on science, math, and engineering, but no one thinks about this thing called technology. Technology, the phones, the computers, the video games. And we start communicating to our young people, especially people of color, start communicating to their sons and their daughters, even to themselves, that just because you do math, science, and engineering doesn't mean that look at technology, because everyone can do that too. And when you get people thinking that they can do STEM too, and it's not like it doesn't paralyze you. Even me, I bought into that stigma. Even though my father was an educator, I thought my sisters and my brother, who received engineering degrees, that they had a different kind of brain than I had. I thought I was just the creative one in the family. My younger brother, we're creative, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm STEM too. But I didn't think that back then, neither did my parents. And my father was educated. So now I'm thinking, wait a minute, guys, imagine if you teach your child or you teach a university or you teach whomever that you got the technology piece here. And so within technology, there's a plethora of careers out of that. One of the great things about the academic side is the partnerships and looking at creating 2+2 programs and working closely with other schools that have those programs already, that might already do well in animation, that might already do well or have an established program in AR, VR. Why reinvent the wheel? So we're looking at creating some things that around that major that's already here. We already have some classes already that's in our wheelhouse. And then there's other courses we're going to create. And we're already in the process of creating MOUs with other universities. So we're excited about the possibilities here, and it's not going to be overnight. So I'm going to start off with 2 or 3 courses in the spring, and then in the fall of next year, it's going to take two years or so to build it the right way.
And what kind of reaction have you had to the program from different entities within the esports ecosystem?
Well, it's been, I'm not gonna say I'm surprised by it, but I'm humbled by it. Esports Observer, the Sports Business Journal, the Chronicle of Higher Ed, which is the Bible for educators. More and more company brands are writing about us, and we, I'm not saying we don't deserve it, but now people are looking at Florida Memorial as one of the leading schools and HBCUs. And even though there's not a lot of schools that are really established yet, Johnson C. Smith is creating a program this fall. Lincoln University is creating a program. North Carolina Central is creating a program. Hampton University received this $350,000 grant last year. And so people know that there are schools out there, but we've been getting a lot of media attention because I came here and turned down all those other schools and came here. So people are looking like, okay, what is going on at Florida Memorial? Why would Marc go there?
How important to you is it that esports should be viewed as a vehicle to reaching educational goals for people of color?
I'll give you a really great example. When I first came here, they did a little story on one of the local channels. You had me giving a soundbite or two about what we're doing. But what I didn't know, who was watching it. So a woman from LinkedIn, she emailed me in my inbox, and I looked to see who she was. And she is a senior administrator at the University of Miami who designs programs. I called her up and she said, you won't believe this, but my son is going to 9th grade and he wants to do esports, but me and my husband, we don't know what to tell him. Within 5 minutes, I explained to her about the opportunities and she cried. And she said, I can't believe you just told me that. There's hope after all. I'm now mentoring her son and his friends. So imagine if we're able to give them college credits and from 9th grade on in terms of joining some of our classes. So imagine if you're a parent of a 9th or 10th grader and you get a chance to see that your son or your daughter gets a chance to do hands-on courses in the industry that they want to get into as early as 9th grade.
And what else do you feel needs to happen now in terms of both raising awareness about the need for increased opportunities in gaming and esports for those who may not have had access to it before?
Almost every conference I go to or I've been a part of or see, podcasts is mostly white men or Asian men. You rarely see women. And when you see women, it's Asian women, very few white women. And so we have got to create opportunities and pathways for people of color and women. And I think one of the ways we can do that is creating, curriculum at these universities and provide the students an opportunity to work closely with these brands, because then the brands can't say, oh, we don't know how to find women or we can't find minorities. Women are 3 times likely to get into a STEM career if they play video games. And right now I'm working with the associate dean at Rice University, one of the top schools in the country for engineering. We're working on a grant on how do we create pathways for women? How do we use video games as an impetus to get them careers in STEM? As far as people of color, one of the companies that I can say that is above and beyond, that's going above and beyond and will go above and beyond is NBA 2K and the NBA 2K League. We're getting ready to do something really major with them. And the interesting thing is that they're going to create opportunity pathways for our students where we're going to be able to actually literally have the students every week. They're going to learn about every department at the 2K League. Everything from production to casting to marketing to the law division, and learn about everything. And all their executives are going to make themselves accessible to my students and be mentors to them, as well as their sponsors. You have about 1,800 plus schools that participate in gaming of some sort. And so it's divided into 3 categories. So you have NACE. NACE is an organization that focuses on varsity esports. They've got over close to 300 schools. And because a lot of HBCUs are so focused on academics to build enrollment, they're not focused on playing video games. They want to know, what is your academic curriculum? Then you have TESPA, which is operated by Activision Blizzard. They have a league too, but it's not as big as the Collegiate Star League. And so the Collegiate Star League, 1,800 students are there. So we partner with the Collegiate Star League, myself and Rod Chappelle, who's the associate commissioner of this new league called the HBCU Esports League. And we're going to be a division of the Collegiate Star League. And again, we're going to be underneath the largest and baddest and the most amazing college tournament group in the country. And working with Wim Stocks, who is a legend in this industry. And we're working closely with him and Neil Duffy to create this piece. And they're going to manage and operate all of our tournaments for us. We work closely with all their publishers. In addition to that, we're not going to play first-person shooter games because, to me, I don't know any HBCU president in this climate right now that would endorse a shooter game at all. Then the brands are now going to say, hey, wait a minute, how do we get young Black students to be part of this, they look at the model that we're getting ready to create with the NBA 2K League, and we could replicate that. That's the best, one of the best ways to create pathways for people of color, women, and underrepresented groups. I think they're much different from the predominantly white colleges. It's a different history, different culture, different circumstances. It's got to be a symbiotic relationship. Yeah. And if you do that, this could be one of the equalizers, I believe, in America and in the world.
If we fast forward 5 years, what would you hope to see in terms of how your program has evolved, and also in terms of industry-wide increased opportunities for people of color?
I've always been at companies that we were the underdog, and then worked to become bigger than the underdog and becoming well recognized. So I think that Florida Memorial will be the best program in the country in the next 2 years? No. Do I think that we will be someone to be reckoned with by the next 5 years? Absolutely. Starting in January, when we come out with our first 2 courses and having the likes of Beyonce's dad is going to be here. Dr. Matthew Knowles is going to be coming, and he's going to be teaching a course on music publishing. I mean, I can't get much better than that. My focus is, how can I help you? And that's how we all need to be thinking about this. How can I help you? That should be our slogan. How can I help you? And if you're in the room to be able to help change policies and help change the course of how we want to do things, and be in the boardrooms with some of these major brands, then I think that Florida Memorial will be a force to be reckoned with. And one of the other things that I find really exciting, there's a young lady named Keisha Walker, 25-year marketing veteran. She's worked with HBCUs for 25 years, done homecomings, worked with major celebrities. She created this thing called Black Collegiate Gaming Association, which is an opportunity for pathways for Black executives, Black college students, Black administrators from every walk of life in college to come together to talk about best practices. And I'm like, that's genius. And she asked me to serve on her board. I'm going to be on her board now. It is the most genius thing I've seen. And I'm working with her to identify the right people to put on her board that are from different walks of life, that are Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, that are in sports, but also esports, gaming, academia. She's going to have it all. When I think about, folks at Boise State, Dr. Haskell there, he just won the Coach of the Year National Coach of the Year for esports coaching, right? And I talk to him regularly. And so you have schools like Boise State. Boise State is saying, hey, we want to work with you. How do we create pathways for you, right? You got schools like Shenandoah, Dr. Joey at Shenandoah, like, hey, how do we create pathways for you? Out in Becker, he invited me to come and teach as a guest professor at Becker. That's the first college in the country that have the esports major. UCI, they've got an amazing brand there. The Ohio State, they probably got the most comprehensive program that's out there. Robert Morris. I mean, there's so many amazing schools out here. The foundation of how we teach these courses is important. And the foundation for me is an opportunity for me to impose and bring forth this knowledge of psychological capital. And in this psychological capital, there's this thing called HERO, the acronym. The HERO is for hope, efficacy, resilience, and optimism, okay? And if you get people to think like that, especially people around efficacy, right? A lot of people saying, I can't do it. I don't know. Like I used to do that when I was a kid. My father would say, Mark, I want you to make a speech. Mark, I want you to do this. And I would say, I can't do it. He said, yes, you can. You're being lazy. You can do it. And when you do that, that's part of this piece called efficacy, right? And then so you've got the resilience piece. A lot of young Black kids, Black people in general, we are resilient people, right? Period. And anyone on the planet, white or Black, they understand resiliency. And when you get a chance to experience something, you're going to feel confident. And when our students walk into the classroom and they get a chance to do things with the league and working with the executives, they're going to walk in there confident. And by the end of the semester, they're going to think they could do anything. And their mindset is always going to be that hero, the hero in you, so that they walk in and they feel that they can do anything and that they can compete against anybody at any school, whether it's in a game or if it's in intellect. And if we got them thinking like that, then we've done something special. Imagine the brilliance that's going to come out with these young people when you start thinking like that and you start feeling like that. You're going to think you can do anything, and I'm excited about it.
Wow, thanks ever so much for your time, Mark. That's really been really fascinating sort of insight into what you're up to over there, and look forward to you sharing it with a larger audience as well at the summit.
Yes, yes, absolutely.